On today's hot sheet, I'm discussing the NAHB Homebuilder Sentiment Report. How are home builders feeling right now? There's a lot of news with tariffs and all of that. What's their feelings right now? We also have housing starts in the new construction arena. And the big news, HUD layoffs. Also, mortgage application update for the past week. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Welcome into the hot sheet. Let me know in the live chat which market you are tuning in from. A lot going on today here at BAM. Like at 2 p.m. Eastern today, we have the capture, convert, close, generating quality leads through strategic landing pages. So if you want the blueprint on how to build landing pages and capture leads through them so you can generate your own leads in your own business, make sure that you attend the free webinar today at 2 p.m. With Luke Acree from Reminder Media. Luke and Eric Simon, the broke agent, are going to be conducting this powerful webinar that'll help you turn your marketing into a lead generating machine, giving you the blueprint for landing pages. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern. Link down below, completely free webinar. Make sure that you jump into that. At 3 p.m. immediately following is the after party. Luke's going to be joining the after party, and that's only for BAMX members. BAMX has officially moved over to School, SKOOL.com/BAMX, where we've brought the community, formerly on Facebook, and all of our content, done for you content delivered to you each and every single week, all into one place on the same platform. No more Facebook spam. No more looking for the things that you love, like the hot sheet show notes each and every single day. All of our slides from this show are available right here inside of BAMX. So BAMX members also get access to a bunch of live streams like today, the 3 o'clock after party happening after the webinar. All right, we got the big news we're going to get to here in just a minute, which is what is going on with HUD. And in particular, how is this going to impact affordable housing? Okay, HUD's mission, for those that are interested in HUD's mission, it is aligned with affordable housing. It's something that I can't stop talking about. Like, make housing affordable again. Let's create plans around how can we get more inventory on the market. Like, there's only one way home prices ever come down, and that's a massive amount of supply. It's not interest rates coming down. That's going to push prices up. Okay. That's like one of the things with buyers. It's like, I'm going to wait, man. First of all, in all my years, I've never met somebody who's like, wants to tell the story about how waiting worked out for them in home ownership. I can tell a lot of personal stories and stories from clients where waiting cost them, or selling too early rather, costs, right? Where it's like, you can't time the market. You know this about stocks. Why is it different in real estate? So we're going to get to that HUD story, massive layoffs happening in HUD. And the number one key function of HUD is affordable housing. And so, we'll get into that and we'll go over those functions. First, let's tap into the minds of builders right now, right? Builders have also been in the Doge crosshairs quite a bit. The Doge / Trump administration crosshairs with all the tariffs that have been either levied or been basically teased out that are going to happen. Right? Tariffs have been, there's, first of all, when we look at tariffs, we need to understand you don't put a tariff on Monday and feel the impacts on Tuesday. They take a long time. Logan Motoshami over at HW's talked about this. They take a long time for the impact to really be felt. So tariffs and the use of that as a negotiating tool, I got no problem with it, in the sense that, like, if you're trying to make better deals, then I know my Canada friends are probably like, no, we don't want to be renegotiated, right? Totally understand that too. But if it's being used to make better deals, then it's just kind of, rhetoric that is being used as leverage. If it actually, we just start tariffing everything and there's not a balance, things can, there can be implications long term in a year or two. But builder sentiment right now based off of in a response to the tariff rhetoric and also housing concerns, builder sentiment has dropped. Okay, so builders, here's the quote from the NAHB chairman Carl Harris. While builders are holding out hope for pro-development policies, particularly for regulatory reform, so cutting the red tape, policy uncertainty and cost factors created a reset for 2025 expectations in the most recent HMI. Okay, we're going to get to how much it's dropped here in the last month. This home builder sentiment. Okay, uncertainty on the tariff front helped push builders' expectations for future sales volume down, and this sentiment now is at the lowest level since December 2023. So builders are feeling, worst they've felt since December 2023. Incentive use may also be weakening as sales strategy as elevated interest rates reduce the pool of eligible home buyers. Okay, that is one thing. The pool of available home buyers who can afford, has shrunk. We know that there's pent up demand of I have a dream buyer, but for buyers this year, this spring season, that is getting smaller. When we get to mortgage application, you'll see an example of that just week over week. Okay, that pool, while we know long-term demand, it's there. Long-term, the dream of home ownership hasn't gone anywhere. It's only up with Gen Z and millennials. They want to be homeowners. They want to have autonomy. They want to have freedom to do with their space what they want. But that pool right now has shrunk, and builders, in my opinion, have made the mistake of, or, maybe a mistake's a little bit strong. They've had to deal with the cards they've been dealt with, the regulatory, the cost of materials and all that. And they've built a product that is even for a smaller pool of buyers. Okay. The product that they've built it's not that affordable. Okay. Because of the cost of actually building. So if you look at months of supply for brand new homes, it's a buyer's market. So when I see the quote here that the incentive use might be weakening, because the prices of new homes are higher than existing, and it's harder to make a deal right now because there's a lot of inventory. I can just go as a buyer of new construction. I can go to the next one. I can go to the next one. I can go to the next one. 32% of appliances and 30% of softwood lumber come from international trade. So this is where the concerns here are with the builder community about the potential for tariffs. Okay, so let's look at what it's actually dropped the sentiment here. Sentiment's gone from now 47 in January to February at a 42. Again, lowest level since December 2023. And we were at a 37 there. We did drop, close to the 42 or at the 42 mark in July of 24 and September 24, August 24. So you had some drops there as well. 26% of builders cut home prices in February. That is down from 30% in January. So more are just saying, hey, I'm going to hold where I'm at here as I get into the spring, see what happens. The use of sale incentives, though, was 59% in February. That was also down 61%. Current sales conditions, so what's happening currently, also fell 4 points to 46. Sales expectations in the next 16 months plunged 13 points in just 30 days to 46. So as builders look over the next 6 months, and we've seen this now with a whole bunch of projections in terms of price appreciation, total sales, etc., that the next 6 months, as we continue to see the downward pressure that rates are having on this economy and on this market, you're seeing those expectations of what 2025 could look like, probably a lot like 2024, as Lance Lambert said on Knowledge Brokers podcast. Probably going to be similar to last year more than it will be some breakout year. This isn't, in the NFL, you get a wide receiver, and they have a good rookie year, but then they take that leap in year two. They're used to the NFL, they're used to the speed, they're used to the new city, they're used to like the lifestyle of being a pro. And in year two, their numbers just jump off the page. They break out. We can't expect 2025 real estate market to have a breakout year because there's not an underlying foundation that would support that. And what Lance said on Knowledge Brokers podcast is like, hey, you look back at the year prior, the 12 months prior, without some type of black swan event happening, and you're going to be very similar incremental gain or incremental drop from the year before. Most years look like the year before. And that's why when you go back on the averages, home prices go up incrementally, not what we saw in 21, 22, 23. Those were outlier years, black swan event years. Okay, so that's how builders are feeling. If we take a look now at the data of what's happening here in real time on permit starts and completions, we're coming in at permits of 1.483, just under 1.5 million. This is on a seasonally adjusted annual rate. So while they feel that the next 6 months are not going to, the confidence score plunge 13 points, let's really take a look. The confidence score is one way to look at it, but I think the better way to look at it is this data right here. What are builders actually doing with their money? Money speaks volumes. Housing starts under 1.4 million, 1.366. Housing completions coming in at 1.651. So completions on the graph look up, permits look like they're going sideways, and starts look like they're going down. Okay, so starts and permits being sideways and starts plummeting there a little bit would tell me that matches with that confidence score, that confidence about the next 13 months or next 6 months plunging 13 points. That tells me that it's matching up with what actions that they're taking. Okay, the permits in January, it was 0.1% above the revised December rate, but it's 1.7% below the January 2024 rate on permits. So, when we looked at the chart, it looked like it was moving sideways. Single family authorizations in January were at a rate of 996,000, virtually unchanged from December. And then the rest is multifamily there. Housing starts in January were at the just under 1.4. It's 9.8% below the revised December rate of 1.515 million. And it's 0.7% below January 2024. So housing starts are slowing based on how builders are outlooking, looking forward rather, this real estate market. Okay, single family homes in particular are 8.4% below December's revised rate. Okay, housing completions, privately owned housing completions in January, we're at a seasonal annual rate, the 1.651 as mentioned. This is 7.6% above the revised December rate and 9.8% above January's 2024 of 1.4. So that, the completions, what's coming online because of the last couple of years investment in building, those numbers are going up. All right, let's talk HUD and what's going on here in government. There's a lot of news, like what's going to, all these different things are getting cut. Some people, are for DOGE. Some people are against DOGE. That's not what this is going to be about at all. But it's no question that this administration is going to move forward with their campaign promise of cutting back on government. This president and this administration controls the House and the Senate, so they're going to be able to get done really a lot of campaign promises, and they're moving forward with that at rapid fire speed. So HUD right now is one of those government agencies that is on the chopping block. Let's start with, what does HUD do? The U.S. Department of Housing is a federal agency responsible for national policies and programs related to housing and urban development. Okay. HUD's mission, here's the mission, is to create, let's just actually go and see if this is on, I'm reading from my notes, but HUD.gov would be their website. Let's see if their mission statement is right on the website. Okay, here's HUD's website. Helping you meet your housing need. HUD provides housing support and uplifts communities. What we do, let's go there. Housing fairness, rental assistance, climate research, work, and then working with HUD. I don't see the mission statement, but I'll read it to you. HUD's mission is to create strong, sustainable, and affordable housing while supporting community development and ensuring fair housing laws are upheld. So, one of the things that I'm really passionate about, I know a lot of real estate professionals are very passionate about, is how do we make housing more affordable? How do we bring more affordable housing into the market? How do we, realize the home ownership dream for more, right? We know the homeowner's 44x wealthy versus the person that's paying somebody else's mortgage. So how do we make it more affordable? The key functions of HUD would be affordable housing, administers program like Section 8. This is what they point towards to making housing affordable. Okay, Section 8 and public housing to help low-income families afford rent. Okay, so when they're looking at affordable housing, they're looking at it the way the Fed, the FOMC looks at it, which is rent. Okay. When I say affordable housing, I think of it as like, how do we make housing that someone can purchase affordable? Right. So there might be some disalignment there, but HUD has to solve the problem over the short term, is what their argument would be. It's like, we need the most affordable options now, so people that are living paycheck to paycheck can survive. Number 2 key function would be FHA. Number 3, fair housing enforcement. Number 4, community development. Number 5, homelessness assistance. And number 6, disaster recovery. Okay. And Housing Wire did an article on this. I'll share that. These are the functions as Housing Wire sees it. Housing Wire, which we're going to get into the target for layoffs with Housing Wire, or with HUD: civil rights, research functions, disaster recovery, and broad implications, the essential services to state of housing across the country, pathways to public-private partnerships, community investment, and so on. Okay, one of the things that they like in here, HUD spurs. I said this on the Real Word yesterday. Yeah, we covered a little bit of this. There's some new information out since the Real Word, so I want to cover this again. Programs spur investments like libraries, community centers, even critical infrastructures like sewage, roads, and transit. I would leave that to the local municipalities personally. So that's how, and I don't want the federal government building libraries in my town or your town, just to be quite frank. I think that should be the local community. So what are the things that that HUD is doing well, that actually does drive affordable housing? And then what are the things that should get cut out? What is some of the waste inside of HUD? Right now on the chopping block, the current administration, DOGE, whatever you want to call it, is calling for a layoff inside of HUD. That would be 50% of the department's workforce. The workforce is 9,600 people. I looked it up yesterday. In 2007, it was 9,200 people. Like, they've had the same amount of employees year over year over year. Okay. I would argue that in 7, 8, 9, 10, when we had more government owned properties, foreclosures, you might need more HUD employees, but it's been the same throughout time, right? That the government hasn't ever been in the business until, I guess, the last 30 days of reducing workforce, of creating efficiencies within the business model that is government. So 50% is the number that we're seeing out there. There's some other numbers, though, that are popping up, and Lance Lambert tweeted this. The Trump administration is planning to lay off at least 40% of the federal housing administration staff. Okay, so FHA is a part of HUD. That would be different now. Okay, now in that Housing Wire article, Okay. In that Housing Wire article that just describes the different functions of HUD, and I went over them probably in a little bit more detail than this article. But in this article, it goes on to it mentions in here that could cut as much as 50% of the department's workforce in 9,600. FHA is reportedly not included. Okay, so that's what that article says. If we go over to this tweet from Lance, which is in reference to a BloombergLaw.com piece, it says the Trump administration is planning to lay off at least 40% of the workers at the federal agency that provides the mortgage insurance. So that's different. Okay, that's HUD that provides mortgage insurance for loans for people who otherwise wouldn't qualify for one. Talking about FHA, probably do a lot of FHA deals. Federal officials are preparing to cut employees at the Federal Housing Administration, the office that helps certain homebuyers secure a loan if they can't afford a down payment or have below average credit scores. I mean, I see people use both, that can afford conventional, sometimes go FHA, but not all the time. You see that both ways. The FHA is one of the largest mortgage insurers in the world and has insured more than 40 million home loans since 1934. So our 30-year fixed mortgage product in the United States of America is the single best financial instrument in the world. Other countries envy the fact that we have this. And we want to create more stable mortgages, not less. We want to have a stable mortgage product. We want to do it right the way we've been doing it since 2012, but which means not everybody's going to qualify. But obviously, we don't want to end up with another 2008 on our hands. The Trump administration cut thousands of employees in recent days, blah, 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 blah. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development plans to discharge 50% of the workforce, Bloomberg Law previously reported. Now, when I go to Bloomberg, this actual article, it says here that Casey Lovett, who's a spokeswoman for HUD secretary, the new secretary is a guy named Scott Turner, just got announced, or I guess confirmed here the other day. So the spokesperson for Turner said Bloomberg Law reporting on staff cuts at the agency is not accurate. Okay. So again, these are headlines. We actually don't know how some of this is going to shake out. So it's unclear how many of the 9,600, the half of that, the 5,000 or so employees out of the 9,600 that are going to go are detailed to work specifically on FHA. Okay. So what are some of the biggest waste today, or some of the things that people are identifying as waste today inside of HUD? Inefficient public housing management. So many public housing authorities mismanage federal funds, leading to deteriorating housing conditions and long repair backlogs. So there was a 2023 GAO report. You can look this up on HUD. So this 2023, and here it is. This is with a .gov. Oh, look at this. I just went to it, and all of a sudden now temporarily unavailable. Maybe Doge cut this. What is going on here? GAO. Here it is. All right. GAO. Affordable housing. GAO. This is GAO.gov. Improvements needed in HUD's oversight of the Housing Trust Fund program. So this report found that HUD spends billions annually on maintenance and repairs. Okay, billions of dollars annually on maintenance and repairs, yet many units remain uninhabitable due to delays and poor oversight. Like, just a general question, do you think the government is efficient in local housing maintenance and repairs? Is the government the person you want coordinating the contractor, or the real estate professional? Okay. So it's no surprise that they're spending billions, and this GAO report found that there's a lot of waste being highlighted in this report that was done in 2023. There's also inefficiencies with Section 8 voucher bottlenecks. Okay. If maybe you own some Section 8 or whatever, maybe, you know more about this, but HUD allocates billions of dollars in Section 8 to rental assistance, but a significant portion goes unused. Okay. Due to a slow processing and landlord resistance to accept those vouchers, being one of the reasons. Okay. That everything in the government basically takes a lot of time. Like when going back to the fixing up of properties, I want the free market to fix up properties. I want there to be incentive for builders, developers, investors, real estate professionals to do this. The other thing that is one of their failed programs potentially is the homelessness, right? They haven't solved homelessness. It's spent tens of billions on homelessness initiatives. But you can look at, many cities across the country and they haven't solved that problem. And buying hotel rooms might just be a Band-Aid fix to some of those problems. It's not really a solution. One of the other things I would say, if we are making, if we're going to make HUD more efficient, right? If we're government more efficient, and HUD being the conversation here for us, this one here, the research functions, HUD Office of Policy Development and Research, was established to maintain current information on housing needs, market condition. Like the research that they're doing is accessible in a variety of other places. Okay. I mean, look at, if you're on, BAMX members, you can just do this study for yourself. Like go on to BAMX, go to school.com/BAMX and just click on every hot sheet. We do this for every single hot sheet where, and here's today's. You just go down to the bottom after all the slides that we give you, and you can click on this thing called hot sheet show notes. Okay. The hot sheet show notes show you exactly how we make the cake. Okay. So it gives you all of the sources in there. You can download that. Here it is. It gives you all of the breakdown of how we put this show together. By the way, this is how you should time block any of your shows. But it's at the bottom of every single hot sheet show note, right there on BAMX. Okay, so you just go to the bottom, hot sheet show notes. You'll I'll just go back here. I'll hit the little download at the top right. When you go here on the left, you see all of our sources. Okay, we're pulling direct sources from a lot of these stories, or a lot of this information that we're sharing, and if we were without HUD as a source of research, we'd be fine. Okay. I mean, the government's websites have not been updated, it seems like, in years, a lot of them. I mean, they could just stream live to the hot sheet with us. They could join us each and every single day. They could use the sources that we're putting together. And we probably you could use AI. You could use a lot of different things to source this. Probably in today's day and age, we don't need HUD doing that. Okay. We have a lot of other sources. Now for us, for real estate, for the reason we do it on BAMX, we want to sift through all the noise and the BS so you can just get what you need at your fingertips. But HUD could focus on what their core mission is, which is affordable housing. Okay. That would be, to me, the place I'd want the focus. If we're going to cut back and make it efficient, that's where I'd want that focus to be. We'll follow the story because there's a little bit of information, obviously, back and forth. Like, hey, is it really going to be 5,000 people leaving HUD? Is it going to impact FHA? The spokesperson for Scott Turner, newly confirmed, says no, FHA is not going to be impacted. Let's see where it shakes out. So these are the headlines. This is the wow factor where, let's see what happens. Things are moving fast, probably faster than we've seen in recent memory from a federal government level. Let's see where it shakes out, and we'll continue to follow that story. Mortgage applications here for the last week have decreased 6.6% from 1 week earlier. That's the top line number that includes refis. The purchase index also decreased, though, 6% from the week earlier. Maybe we'll see the end of last week, beginning of this week. Rates have been, they've dropped below that mental barrier 7. They bounced back up over 7 yesterday. Maybe we'll see, better numbers week over week as we get into next week. But right now, as we face the facts here, the purchase index did decrease 6% from 1 week earlier. Not ideal for what we want to see here, as we're in late February, spring market. We're almost a third of the way done with the spring market. But silver lining is we are 7% higher on the mortgage applications than the same week 1 year ago. So comparing an apple to an apple versus last year, a little bit higher, but a little bit lower than what we saw just last week. It's your mortgage application update. Doesn't look like we'll get much relief here today on the 30-year, coming in at 4.548 on a long-term 10-year treasury rate. The 30-year fix came in yesterday at 7.02. So bouncing up from the Valentine mental barrier break of 6.96 on the 30-year fix. There you go. That's your update on the rates and your update for the hot sheet here for today. We do have that webinar. If you want to learn the blueprint for effective landing pages and creating your own leads directly into whatever CRM you use, join that 2 p.m. webinar with Luca Cree, CEO of Reminder Media. Guy's brilliant. He's built a company with over 200 people inside of his company. Really knows how to capture leads. He's going to be breaking that down with Eric Simon, the broke agent. 3 o'clock, immediately following, after the webinar, is going to be the BAMX after party. So you'll be able to ask questions of Luke and Eric direct on that landing page webinar. That'll all be happening inside of the BAMX 3 p.m. after hours. That'll be if you're, for BAMX members, where to find that. Hopefully, you just go right into your calendar here on BAMX, go into the calendar tab, and you'll see those links available right there. So BAMX members, 3 p.m. If you're not a BAMX member yet, you want to be a part of that, just go to school.com/BAMX, SKOOL.com/BAMX. All right, there you go. The link will be down below as well if you're seeing this on the replay. So no worries there. And that's the hot sheet. I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning. Obviously, hopefully see a bunch of you guys on the webinar, the after party as well. Until then, have a great day. And of course, toodaloo.